let's crack a burglar's code. Tape on the door handle or a slice of cheese on the car's hood, and many more can be signs that you're being watched by a crook. Burglars don't just pick a house randomly and rob it. They'll often monitor the home before they take action. They want to know more about the house and its security. They leave markings on the home, garage door, post box, or storage unit. Get to know these markings and know what they symbolize, and you'll be able to better protect your home from the bad guys. If you see a circle drawn, that means in the eyes of the thieves, your house is a piece of cake to rob. Maybe it has no home security system set up. Yet, a barred circle means to avoid entry. Maybe the home has high-tech alarms, CCTV cameras, or a dog. Ladder-like lines means there are valuables visible in the home, so there are items in the house worth stealing. If someone sprays the letter M in the garbage, that means empty in the morning, and N refers to empty at night. Police forces have issued warnings about the code, but keep in mind that some of these signs are actually harmless messages used by road workers to communicate about pipelines and so on. If you see some evidence of key bumping, don't enter the house. Key bumping is a technique where burglars use a similar key made with a heavier metal than the pins to file down the pins on the inside of the lock. Plus, victims may encounter some problems while claiming insurance in such cases because this technique may leave no sign of forced entry on the outside of the lock. You're being robbed and you can't prove it to the insurance company. Sounds like a nightmare. Lockpicking is a less forceful technique. This one will leave marks on the doorknob, such as light scratches around the lock, but the real signs will be found on the inside of the lock on the pins. They'll have dents. Heavy scrapes or marks on your doorknob can also indicate that someone has entered your home. Thieves sometimes use screwdrivers to break the pins in the lock. If you see deep scratches, marks, or a widening of the keyhole, be careful when you get inside. Thieves may stick a tape, and it's usually a see-through one, on the door handle. Suppose the tape is still there a day or so later. The squatters believe that the owner is away since the door hasn't been used. This strategy has become alarmingly prominent in Dublin. The police warned people to be vigilant and remove any tape immediately after seeing it. Some of these markings are left by dog thieves, signaling that your home has a money-wise worthy breed to steal. Supposedly, red chalk marks are for large dogs, and yellow and pink marks refer to medium and small dogs. The police advise dog owners to keep their eyes open around their properties and report any such instances to the police. Lastly, pay extra attention when walking their pets. One of the keys to being safe at a house is having good security and knowing your property. For instance, if your front door locks are still responsive but function slowly, it may be a sign of a burglar attempt. This might be because of a tactic called the vulnerability method. Thieves make the door lock weaker with time. They use tools or objects to deteriorate the lock without leaving any traces. You may think your lock is old and simply postpone calling a locksmith, but that would be a huge mistake. Similarly, the key might turn inside the lock with delay. If it's harder to turn inside, this is usually the first sign of an attempted break-in. So, this is probably the most important warning sign you should take into consideration. Even security door locks are vulnerable to break-ins. Did you know that in Churchill, Canada, locals keep their car doors unlocked? They don't do this to invite the thieves, but to survive a potential polar bear attack. The town has the largest number of polar bears in the world. Imagine a resident faced with a polar bear and another person's car is nearby. They can quickly shelter inside that car. How about learning some safety tips to avoid purse snatching? Firstly, don't carry a shoulder bag over your shoulder. I know, it's what the bag is designed for. But this makes it easier for a thief to grab your bag. For example, carrying a small clutch-type handbag underneath your arm is safer. Shopping with someone else is safer than shopping alone. On shopping days, and in general, don't carry more money than you would possibly need for all your credit cards in the same purse. Carry only what you need for the day. You might think, it's just for a sec, but don't leave your purse in shopping carts or on counters. And there's the matter of scams. When you believe you can't be scammed, you might let yourself be more vulnerable to scammers. Scams target everyone from all backgrounds, ages, and incomes. They can catch you off guard and when you're not expecting it, using new technologies, products, or even services to hook you, to either give them your money or personal details. How to be scam-proof? Firstly, keep in mind that if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Secondly, don't respond to calls about your computer asking for remote access, even if they mention a well-known company. Scammers will often ask you to turn on your computer to fix a problem or install a free upgrade. This is actually a virus to get your passwords and personal details. Lastly, pay attention to unusual payment requests. Scammers will often ask you to use an unusual payment method like a preloaded debit card, gift card, or iTunes card. A carjacker and a slice of cheese. What connection can there be? Imagine you walk to your car and see melted cheese on the engine cap. You initially thought that it was probably some kind of a prank, so you begin to clean the cheese. Naturally, it takes ages under the hot sun. Pay attention to your surroundings. Someone might be watching you from a distance and waiting for the right time. They can just jump into your car and run away while you're not looking at the driver's door, busy cleaning the cheese near the passenger side. Did you know that you might have an extra key in your car? Some cars have valet keys hidden under the owner's manual or in the toolkit in the trunk. If your car has that spare pair, take it out immediately. If you know where it is, thieves will know it too. Plus, don't think you have a perfect hiding spot for your spare keys. Car thieves know where to look. For example, some people hide the extra key under the bumper or beneath the floor mat. Thieves routinely check those places as well. Speaking of car theft, now it might be a good time to talk about the habits and strategies of car burglars. They don't really go for wide open and visible locations like in front of houses and driveways. Dark and secluded places such as apartment buildings, carports, and underground parking garages appeal to them because it's quieter. He could hear if somebody was coming. Have you heard of vehicle identification number, aka VIN? This is a unique number for every car out there. You can engrave the VIN on your car windows. This makes your car less valuable on the black market for its parts. Plus, changing the car windows costs quite a lot, so crooks try to avoid such cars. Overall, it's better not to be an inviting, easy target. So, do you have some real-life stories about all these?
You wake up in the middle of the night from a noise coming from downstairs. First thing you need to do is check what the noise is. If you suspect someone's in your house, do this quickly and quietly. It might just be a mouse that knocks something over. Still, if your suspicions are confirmed and you see someone in your dining hall, look for a way out immediately. Use the fire escape ladder if you have one. Otherwise, a window might do the trick. Still, chances are you'll have to stay put. Grab the phone and call the authorities. Give them your address and explain the situation as briefly as you can. And in a heartbeat, they'll dispatch a unit to your house. Reaching your street, they can't find your house number anywhere. They get there eventually, but only after having followed the numbers from other houses in the neighborhood. By the time the authorities arrive, the burglars already escaped. That's because your house number can barely be seen. It's so tiny. Your mailbox's one is barely noticeable too. Get a new and shiny plaque. Make sure the number's big and visible. This will not only help your guests find your house sooner, but you'll also avoid the authorities missing your house next time. While you're at it, make sure the mailbox number's visible too. Another good way to protect your house is by adding a fence to it if you don't already have one. Make sure it's hard to get through. Use chain link or even metal fencing. Dig it into concrete as well, so burglars can't lift it. If you're okay with a rough look, you can even try out barbed wire fencing. Next up, add lighting to your yard, because if your yard's all dark, it'll be a perfect target for unwanted visitors. Keep a few lamps outside that you can turn on and off. A well-lit yard will let you see what's up outside, and your neighbors too. If they spot someone, they'll call you and the authorities if need be. A spotlight camera is an extra. It usually stays off during daytime and works with a motion detector. It's really bright and lights up when it senses any movement. You can even get one that also starts recording at once. So not only will you frighten burglars, but will also have video proof in case anything does happen. Another thing is a ring camera. Whenever someone rings the door, you can pick it up without even being home. Since your phone's connected to the doorbell, you only need to answer the call wherever you are. If it's someone you don't know and you're smelling something fishy, you can pretend to be home and let them know you're not interested. Dense shrubs in your yard will give the burglar a place to hide, and you might not even notice there's someone trespassing. Keep your shrubbery closely trimmed. It'll not only keep you safe, but also add a bit more shine to your yard. While you're out on vacation, avoid posting your whereabouts on social media. Say someone's had your house on their radar for a while now. You being gone is the perfect opportunity for them to strike. Leave posting the nice pictures you took for when you get back home, and you can keep an eye on things. Oh, and don't show people what you do day to day either. It'll be easy for someone to keep track of your daily schedule and plan an assault for when you're out grocery shopping, for example. This one's obvious, but always lock your home when you leave, even if you think you live in a safe neighborhood. And if you've just moved into a new house, change your locks too. It works for apartments as well, or even if you're just renting a room. You can never be too safe. Always keep the appearance that someone's inside the house, even when it's empty. The first way to do it is leave your television on, or even better, buy a TV simulator. This way, you can program it to turn on and off as you please. I mean, it'd be weird if it was constantly on. It'll save you a couple of bucks as well, because simulators consume less than the real thing. Get a plug-in alarm clock as well, and connect a lamp to it. Set timers for it to go off, let's say dinner time, and for a while at night. You can also get an extra alarm clock and connect a radio to it. If people think you're blasting some tunes, they surely won't try to do anything. Don't forget any valuable items outside, things like your grill, bikes, and any machinery you might have. Store them inside your garage instead, and lock it tight. Security cameras outside your home will let you keep an eye on things, even while you're at work. This one's particularly good if you're extra worried someone's going to break in. Consider reinforcing your door, even if it's relatively new. Instead of breaking in, they might try and completely knock down the door if they're desperate to get in. Get a sturdier one that won't come down easily. This goes for windows too. It's worth investing in a type of glass that won't break when a rock hits it. Or use security film. It's a strong, transparent plastic you put on your windows to strengthen them. Even if your windows break, this film will hold the shards of glass in place. It'll delay the entry by quite a bit, so they might even quit the whole thing. How much mail you've got also lets people know if you're home or not. If there's a huge pile of it, it's clear you haven't checked it for at least a couple of days. So even if your house wasn't a target, it might be now. Get familiar with your neighbors, invite them over for a cup of tea, and talk about your concerns. You'll watch their back, and they'll watch yours. And if anyone suspicious comes around, they'll let you know. You can even ask for a favor or two while you're on vacation. Ask them to park one of their cars in your driveway to pretend someone's at home. While you're at it, give them the key to your mailbox and ask them to take your letters for you. You'll repay them when they go on vacation. Take a walk around your house and put yourself in the mind of a burglar. What would you do to get in? There's a tree there that you can climb to reach the second floor. Or maybe it's just too easy to climb the pile of junk that you've got there. It's worth getting rid of both to keep the top floors hard to reach, and no one will be tempted to break the top windows and try to get in like that. If you've got a mail slot in your front door, be aware of mailbox fishing. It's where a burglar puts a pole straight through the mail slot and fishes for keys, or maybe even tries to unlock the door. Get a mailbox cage. This way, if they try to do this, they won't get far. Valuables inside the house are another thing. Keep them out of sight as much as you can. The safest thing you can do is get a safe. But otherwise, you can get decoy items just in case burglars do get in your house. Keep a few fake gold bracelets next to your bedside table. They'll think they've scored big time when, in fact, they're going home empty-handed. If you've always wanted a pet, now's the time to get a dog. Make sure it has a cozy place to sleep outside, and as a thank you, it's going to protect your house. As soon as it hears someone step foot in the yard, it'll warn you by barking. Not only that, but it'll wake up the entire neighborhood too, which will bring even more attention to what's happening. Don't ever put up a calendar, or all of this will be for nothing. Say a burglar comes out the back and just looks through the window. If they spot a calendar with the exact dates you're going to be away, none of these tricks will work because they'll know better than to fall for them. And as a last resort, you can get a panic button and keep it next to you when you sleep. You can program it to call the authorities with the press of a button. With that, you'll have alerted them that your house is being invaded.
Did you know that every 15 seconds a home burglary occurs in the United States? This means that approximately 4,800 burglaries happen every day, and the police can only solve 13% of all the reported cases. So yeah, home security is nothing to be joked about, and so I won't. But still, don't worry. It's not like you need to turn your house into a fortress to feel safe. There are a great number of things you can do to keep the bad people out of your house and keep your valuables safe without breaking the bank. First things first, homes without a security system are 300% more likely to be broken into and burglarized, so you should definitely consider setting up one. However, there are many different types of security systems out there. That's why it can get overwhelming to choose the best one for your specific needs, desired level of protection, and budget. Yet again, it all comes down to two options: professional installations and DIY installations. Let's go through both of them together. Professional installed systems require professional monitoring and usually have contracts that are likely long-term. Professional systems come with fees. However, companies usually require lower upfront equipment costs since they will spread the cost throughout the course of your contract. Once you decide on a professional installation, the company will first schedule an appointment with one of their experienced technicians who can conduct a security assessment and explain all your options to you. And as long as your contract is valid, you can report any problems you have with the system to them so they can make sure the equipment works correctly. All in all, you should pick professionally installed security systems if you want to put up your feet and relax instead of watching long hours of tutorial videos or reading pages of manuals. Still, professionally installed security systems may not work for you, especially if you're a renter, due to the contract commitment conditions. Or maybe you're not a renter, but you simply have budget limitations. That's where DIY installations come in handy. The greatest thing about DIY systems is that while the average monitoring price is around $50 per month on professionally installed systems, it is around $28 a month on DIY ones. Plus, there are no installation fees with DIY systems either. Yet again, you should expect higher upfront equipment costs if you're going to pick this option. And there's also the fact that DIY home security systems come with the risks of improper equipment placement and missing security vulnerabilities a pro would catch. At the end of the day, the most important thing you need to do before choosing a system is evaluate the needs of your neighborhood as well as your house. Did you know that 34% of burglars simply use the front door when breaking into a home? That means if your door is not strong and secure enough, you're basically inviting the burglars in. So, setting up security systems is not enough. You need to inspect all your exterior doors too. Make sure the door frames are strong and the hinges are protected. You can always use door reinforcement kits to add extra protection. If your door has a mail slot, don't forget to check if it's possible for someone to reach through it to unlock the door. When moving into a house or an apartment that was previously occupied by someone else, change the door locks. This is the easiest way to ensure that no stranger can just walk into your house using the keys. One other way to boost security for your door is to use wireless doorbell cameras. This one from Amazon is extremely user-friendly. It's 100% wireless, it has a built-in rechargeable battery that can last 1 to 2 months, so you won't have to charge those too often. You can track the battery situation from the phone app. It also has motion detection technology and super night vision, and you don't need to worry about the weather conditions because it's also waterproof. By the way, don't forget about the sliding glass doors. You can use a window bar or dowel in the track to keep them from being forced open. Or you can add a door sensor or glass break sensor to get alerted if and when someone is tampering with them. We're getting into the very basics of home security now. The percentage of burglars entering a home through a window is as high as 23%. The main reason for that is because most of the time, people forget to lock their windows. Yet again, burglars can always break the glass. If you don't want that to happen, you can try reinforcing the glass with window security film, adding window bars, or installing window sensors. If none of that is possible, you can also plant prickly bushes under the first floor windows to discourage burglars from choosing your house to break in. Now, what's the difference between an actor and a burglar? Burglars don't like to be in the spotlight. That's why having outdoor lighting is to your advantage. Lights should be placed around your front and backyards, along pathways, and near the garage. To make your outdoor security lights more effective, you can use motion-activated ones. Take this one for example. It's solar-powered, so it'll help you save energy. But that doesn't mean you won't have any light once the clouds cover the sky. It's able to run 4 to 5 nights on rainy days. Also, don't allow the burglars to play hide-and-seek. While trees and shrubs may make your home look more beautiful, they also provide a convenient hiding spot for burglars. That's why you should trim down trees and plants, at least the ones close to your house that could be used for cover. Choose smaller flowers and bushes instead, so that burglars don't have a hiding spot to wait for you to leave your home. The same thing goes for any lock gates, sheds, or other outdoor buildings you have. Make sure those places are locked. Burglars can use stools and ladders to climb in from the windows too, so don't tempt them by leaving one outside. Now this one goes without saying, but I will anyway. Lock the garage. Even if there's no access to your home through there, it's likely that you still have plenty of valuable stuff stored in there that burglars might be interested in. It's also wise to store your garage door opener inside your house rather than leave it in your car. This way, you'll be preventing burglars from easily taking it. If you use a security code to open your garage, then keep it confidential and avoid entering it in front of other people, including neighbors. Some neighbors, well, you just don't know. Installing a driveway alarm will also help secure the garage. Now these days, not just burglars but porch pirates, aka package thieves, are a big problem too. Last year, almost 1 in 7 Americans fell victim to them. This is where security cameras prove to be useful. First of all, they work as a deterrent, and secondly, if someone were to really steal your package, you'd be able to identify them thanks to the security footage. If you can't spare some money to get a good security camera for the time being, you can opt for a fake one. They're a lot cheaper, and they will help make your home look more secure than it actually is. This one is worth considering if you're searching the market. It contains a flashing light which makes it look as realistic as it gets. Now last but not least, having a safe wouldn't hurt. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be one of those uncrackable giant titanium ones in the heist movies, like Ocean's 23. Burglars may still be able to break into your house despite all the precautions. So you still need to make sure your valuables are protected at all times. You can hide all things important from your expensive jewelry to your vital documents in there just to be extra safe. If you're going to get yourself one, make sure it is fire-resistant, waterproof, and heavy enough that a thief can't pick it up and walk away with it. As they say, better safe than sorry.
As the famous song says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Everyone's leaving their homes to go visit their families, and you are one of those people. You take a final look around your house before you head out, lock your door, and leave. But wait, I have an important warning for you. Did you know that statistically, most burglaries happen before the holidays begin? Especially on the 5th, 6th, 11th, 17th, and 18th of December. That shouldn't be too surprising though. By the end of November or the beginning of December, your house starts to fill with brand new presents. Maybe you have bought an expensive necklace for your mother, the latest tech gadget for your father, and a bike for your nephew. These make a small fortune, wouldn't you agree? I can already see the dollar signs in the burglar's eyes. Your home becomes most vulnerable in the late afternoons or early evenings after the sun sets. Burglars act quickly before you come home from work. Weekend evenings are also when the most burglaries are reported. And when you're out at parties or dinners, burglars know they can take their time since it's likely you will be out until late hours. And if you're away, then there's no escaping your fate. But there are some precautions you can take to offer fewer clues about your belongings and whereabouts to burglars. And no, they don't involve throwing fake parties with cardboard people. First things first, we always tend to place trees by the window, right? It makes everything feel cozier, and there's a certain charm to displaying your wonderfully decorated tree to the people who pass by your street. Well, that's actually a big no-no if you want to keep your place safe. Also, it's not advised to keep your gifts under the tree as well as near the windows or any obvious places for days until it's finally time to open them, because this will allow burglars to quickly locate these items of value. Seeing the tree is already set from your window might get them to start watching over your house as they wait for you to leave so they can finally break in. Whether you're going to be at home for the holidays or you're going to be away, it will always be a clever idea to put your lights on a timer. If you're going to be on the road, have them turn on during the hours you would normally be home so that your place doesn't appear empty. The timer will also come in handy if you're just going to visit a place for only a few hours. If you're not able to get a timer, you can always leave some lights on to make the house seem somehow occupied. Burglars might eventually realize that there is no one in the house since nobody would be turning them off, but it can still save you some time if you're going on a short vacation. And remember, the cost of leaving the lights on will always be lower than the cost of a break-in. On a related note, if you're one of those people who power their outdoor lights with extensions that go through the windows and connect to the inside of the house, you might want to stop doing that. Since this might prevent windows from being properly closed and secured, it will make it a lot easier for any burglar to break in. Instead, you can always use battery-operated lights. You may be inclined to post photos of your parties, dinners, and gatherings on social media to show your new dress or just how much fun you're having to your followers. But I advise you not to do that. At least wait until the event is over and you're home, because that would be declaring that your home is empty and ready for burglars to break in if anyone is targeting you. The more offline you are, the safer you and your house will be. Even if your social media accounts are set to private, sharing your location, status, and so on might still cause you trouble. Because what if the burglar is also a hacker? Having a hidden spare key outside your house comes with benefits when you forget yours at the office or drop them through the elevator holes. However, that will only make the burglars' jobs easier. Even if they don't know where they are, there's a good chance that with a quick search of the usual places people hide their keys, they will be able to find them. What you can do instead is to give them to a trusted neighbor or a friend to keep until you're back and ask them to check your house from time to time, or better, every day. And if you can ask that neighbor or friend if they can pick up your packages while you're away, that will add another layer of protection for your house. Some online orders or mail may not arrive on time, especially during the holidays when the delivery companies get super busy. And if they arrive when you're not home, there's a good chance that the delivery person will just leave them by your door. When the packages and letters keep building up on your porch, they will not only help burglars understand that no one's home, but they can also invite strangers to grab your boxes. To avoid this, you can track them and let your neighbors know when they will arrive. By the way, the same thing goes for any scheduled deliveries such as newspapers, magazines, or bills as well. Before you leave the house, take photos of your valuable items such as jewelry, artwork, and electronic devices, as well as record their models and serial numbers. This will not only help you stop burglars from breaking into your house in any way, but it will also come in handy if they indeed do break in and steal stuff. This way, you will know what's missing from your collection and will be able to show pictures to the police, which in return will make it easier for them to locate the stolen items. Burglars often look around to try and find a ladder, any garden equipment, or any store tool that will help them break a door or window to get inside your house. That's why you should securely lock stuff like these inside sheds or garages. Once you do that, it will become much harder for the burglars to figure out ways to break things or climb to windows. And while they do that, someone can notice their suspicious activity and make them run away without completing their crime. Even if you're living in a place with hot weather, never ever leave windows open in rooms that you're not using, even if you're at home. And make sure they're all closed tight before leaving the house. You can always use window locks and replace fly screens with security meshes. After the holiday ends, it's important that you don't pile the boxes of your expensive presents outside your house near the trash bin. If you do, the burglars will not only learn what you've received, but will also get tempted to break in. Especially if they see you have an item they want. They might also assume that you will likely replace the stolen item, and this may encourage them to break in for a second time. What you should do instead is to cut the packages before throwing them into the trash. Or you can also burn them in the fireplace to keep the house cozy and safe. Last but not least, it's always beneficial to have an intruder alarm, no matter what time of year it is. And just having it is not enough. You have to remember to use it. Unfortunately, many people who have an alarm don't bother setting it unless they're going on vacation. Setting your alarm should become a habit. Make sure to use it whenever you go out as well as whenever you come in, since there's always a chance that burglars might break in while you're sleeping in your bed too. So, have you checked all the precautions off your list? Good! Then happy and safe holidays! If you think a deadbolt lock will stop a home intruder, don't be fooled. 60% of burglaries happen through forced entry, so these people definitely know how to get into your home, even when it's all locked up. As for 30% of home invasions, they involve an intruder just coming right in through an unlocked door or window. 65% of all burglaries happen between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., exactly when you're at work. Before executing a break-in, an experienced burglar spends days, if not weeks, casing the place. They study your schedule and daily routine so they'll know exactly when you'll be gone and for how long. They find this information out by watching you from afar or by using some other tricks of the trade. One of the most popular things burglars are doing nowadays is tying a thread on the front door handle and fixing it to the nearby wall or door frame. This thread is so thin that a casual onlooker won't even notice it. By examining the thread, burglars can figure out the pattern of your life. It may reveal to them when you leave for work, go to the gym, head out for a weekend getaway, and of course, when you come back home. With this information in hand, they can plan the perfect break-in. Experienced burglars have a checklist of easy target homes. First, you leave your doors or windows unlocked. Locking your house up seems like a no-brainer here, yet so many people don't do it. They may be lulled into a false sense of security by their tall fence or quiet neighborhood. Or perhaps they think, I'm just making a quick run to the corner store. What could possibly happen in 5 minutes? Believe it or not, this is more than enough time for a skilled burglar to get in, grab your valuables, and make their getaway. Your house is empty during the day. There's a common misconception that burglaries happen at night, but that's when most people are at home. This increases a burglar's risk of getting caught. It's much safer for them to operate during the day when everybody's at work or school. If you constantly share pictures and posts on social media about your expensive things or extravagant vacations, don't be surprised if one day you find some valuables missing from your home. There are certain things you can do to make yourself less of a burglary target. Nothing beats a home security system and surveillance. If a criminal notices an alarm and an operating camera, they'll most likely cross your home off their list of potential targets. Surprisingly, just a "Beware of Dog" sign can prevent burglary. It's even better if you have an actual dog, though. That tall fence and thick shrubbery that provide your home with some privacy can work against you. Sure, your neighbors can't see what you're up to in your backyard, but they also won't be able to notice if some dishonest citizen invites themselves into your house while you're away. Consider opening up the area around your home so that it doesn't seem so isolated. Are you one of those people who keep their wallet and car keys in a bowl near the front door? Yes, it's really convenient to have everything right there as you're heading out. But if a burglar breaks into your house during the night, nothing will be easier for them than to grab your valuables and quietly sneak away. The best place to keep your car keys and wallet at night is near your bed. Stay safe out there.
You've probably heard that when a burglar decides which house to target, they start by casing it. This means that they watch the owners, find out information about their routine, and determine the best time for entering their home. By the time they're ready to commit the crime, they already know for sure when there won't be anybody inside or when the owners will be distracted. One of the tricks thieves use to gather information about your routine is so simple that you may not even give it a second thought. But the next time you hear a quiet crackle under the sole of your shoe, stop and check what it was. The chances are high that you'll find yourself face to face with a crushed cookie. If that's the case, it's your clue that something has gone terribly wrong. The thing is, this is a rather effective tool criminals use to find out if you've left on a trip or when exactly you come home in the evening. A cookie is such an innocent object that people don't usually give it much thought, if they even notice it at all. You arrive home, step on the cookie, make it crumble, and automatically reveal all your secrets to burglars. They know for sure if the house is lived in and can also figure out the schedule of its owners. Things get even worse if you're away from home. The cookie under the doormat remains whole, thus alerting criminals that the house is perfect for a break-in. So, if you find some treats under your doormat, that's pretty bad news. Someone is interested in your house and watching it. It might be a good idea to notify the police or take some safety measures. Now, the ploy with a cookie is just one of the numerous tricks used by burglars. One more sign that can alert you to the fact that you're being watched is white pebbles left near the house or in the driveway. This means that a criminal has already visited your home and marked it as worth entering. Another reason why thieves may have left the pebbles is to indicate that your house stays empty during the day. So, if you're walking along the street and notice a USB flash drive sticking out of a curb or a wall, don't get confused. You have most likely stumbled across a dead drop. Despite its ominous name, this is a global art project that has borrowed some tricks from the world of spies and espionage. Lots of people who know about this project are happy to be able to put on their black coat and dark sunglasses and go to swap confidential information with others. The thing is that many decades ago, spies had their own ways to exchange secret materials. There was a live drop when spies met in person, but this was often extremely dangerous. That's why a dead drop system was invented. In this case, some loose bricks in a wall in an alleyway hid important documents that had to be picked up later. Nowadays, there are more than 1,500 dead drops all over the world, and the accumulated data on these flash drives reaches 10 terabytes. You can come across a dead drop on any continent you visit, except Antarctica, maybe because there are not so many walls there. So, if you find one, what do you do with it? First of all, it's highly inadvisable to connect random USB flash drives to your computer. You never know what viruses are lurking there, looking forward to destroying your hard drive content. And while risk is a part of the game, don't overdo it. If you're 100% sure that you want to play, secure your computer as well as you can, or even better. Secondly, you can't even guess what information will be waiting for you on a flash drive. Anyone can download videos, photos, or text files, and this has already led to several problems. Speaking of which, have you got a parcel with a USB stick in it? Whatever you decide to do with it, don't plug the flash drive in. Such cases have been more and more frequent in Australia. The police warn people that hackers have invented a new tactic. They drop unmarked memory sticks to letterboxes. It'll probably come as no surprise that these devices contain malware able to mess up your computer. They evidently rely on human curiosity and, in all honesty, it pays off. People can't fight an inexplicable desire to check the contents of a mysterious gift. As a result, almost half of USB sticks received by post get plugged in. After that, people start having serious problems with their laptops and computers. For example, fraudulent media begins to stream service offers, or computer viruses harm files and programs on a PC. So, no touching the free flash drive, okay? Now, you leave a shopping mall, your office, an airport, and go to the parking lot to find your car. You unlock it and put the key in the ignition. When you're about to start your vehicle and drive away, you see something strange on your windshield. Is that a $100 bill wrapped around your wiper? Oh, you could certainly find a way to spend this unexpected gift. But do you really think someone accidentally put money on your windshield and forgot all about it? Beware, this is nothing but a ruse. Because as soon as you get out of your car to get a closer look at this mysterious banknote, the owner of the banknote will take action. They will get into your car and drive off at a record-breaking speed. Let's admit that no one would turn off their ignition and take their belongings with them if they got out of their car to check the windshield for a C note. As a result, in under a minute, you'll lose your car, your wallet, and your documents, and you'll be left stranded in the parking lot. People have recently started to find some article of clothing, like a shirt for instance, lying on their windshield or wrapped up in their wipers. If you ever happen to be one of these people, don't fall into this trap and don't try to remove the object. Just get in your car and drive away as fast as you can from the place you were parked. This seemingly misplaced garment is actually a new con being used by muggers and thieves. It works like this. If you see some random piece of clothing that prevents your wipers from moving or obscures your view, your first reaction will be to remove it, of course. But while you're distracted untying it or trying to get it off, the criminal has plenty of time to jump you. The most common place for this sort of scam is parking garages. They're usually badly lit and pretty deserted, which means there are few witnesses around and plenty of dark spaces for the attacker to lie in wait. Now, if one day you come home and notice some graffiti or markings on your door or house, call the police immediately. Even if it just looks like a teenage prank or a simple scratch, it's better to be safe than sorry, because burglars use certain marks to tell other criminals different things about your house. For example, something resembling a Roman numeral 2 means that the homeowners are rich, so the place is a great target. On the other hand, a crossed circle tells other burglars that there's nothing valuable to take from the house. Kinda makes you want to mark your own house like that. Now, a long horizontal rectangle divided into 4 parts means the place has a big aggressive guard dog. A triangle divided into 2 parts by a vertical line tells criminals to hit the place only at night, while a reversed one says that a house or apartment is free after dinner. And something looking like a combined A and K lets their fellow burglars know that the house is always full of people. Hey, did you know there's even a fraternity for burglars who love to steal desserts named Iota Grab a Pie? Sorry, I made that up. A new trick being used by car thieves, and that's the trick with a coin. They slip it into the space between the door and the door handle. When a car owner thinks they've locked the door with a remote, the vehicle is, in fact, still open. The coin prevents the lock on one of the doors from working. As soon as the owner walks away from the car, the thief has no problems at all opening the door and driving away. Another trick. As soon as there's some public gathering, a big party, or even a busy day at the mall, car thieves make an announcement over the PA system that a particular car, chosen by them of course, has blocked their vehicle in and they can't leave. As soon as the owner comes out to move his car, a group of guys start to act. They assume, and for good reason, that the person is carrying the key to his car. So, what are the signs if someone tracks your phone? Do you know how to tell if your phone's listening to your conversations? Here are some tips on how to deal with such malicious activities. Imagine you open a tab on your phone's browser, or you're chatting with your significant other without knowing that a stranger is monitoring the whole convo. How would you feel? The attacker, let's call him this, may see what you browse and whom you connect with. Yet they may not be able to see your messages. It depends on the way they choose to track you. If you install an app from a third-party app store, your privacy is in danger. You might do that without knowing that the app is harmful. Secondly, sharing your credentials through a phishing scam campaign is a possibility. Lastly, if your device's software has been out of date for a long time, like a year or so, it's more open to attacks. Now, what are the signs that your smartphone is tracked? The first clue is excessive background data usage. Keep an eye on it. If it's noticeably higher than what you usually use, investigate what's using most of the data. Is there an active hotspot enabled? Verify the connected devices and look out for an unauthorized one. The second clue is browser history. Sometimes attackers load up things like phishing sites remotely. If you see a mismatch in your browser history, well, that's a bad sign. The third symptom is battery drain. Yes, there was a time when phone batteries didn't last long enough, but in recent models, they can go up to days. If your device normally goes for quite a long time, but you get a sudden battery drain, you need to verify the background apps and installations. The last common symptom is abnormal reboot. Of course, it can be related to a hardware issue, but why should you risk it? You can consult an expert to determine whether the reboot is related to the hardware or malicious software that has been downloaded. The million-dollar question: how to stay tracking-free and safe? You can buy an anti-tracking signal blocker. This model on Amazon can also be used as a wallet. The phone will be disconnected and the GPS signal will be deactivated. It'll prevent tracking. Credit cards and IC magnetism will be safe in this bag too. And lastly, it has an anti-radiation feature. Okay, this model may seem a little extreme because, well, most of the time, you want to be accessible and use your phone. After all, you can't keep it inside a signal blocker case forever. So, here are easy tips you can easily apply to protect your privacy. First, uninstall unfamiliar applications. Wait a minute, I don't even know what that is. Well, hit delete. As I mentioned earlier, hackers generally track you through apps. You can also enforce application blacklisting. To avoid harmful side effects, always download apps from official app stores. Sadly, dubious ones can sneak into Google Play and the App Store, but the number is certainly less than a not trustworthy option. Another way to guard your phone is by creating strong passwords. And if you enable two-factor authentication for important accounts, that helps too. Similarly, a strong PIN would help, as people sometimes can't install spyware if your device is properly locked. You can use a reliable security system to strengthen the security even more. I know how tempting public Wi-Fi is instead of using your own data, especially if you're in another country for vacation or other purposes. Unfortunately, if the Wi-Fi isn't password protected, it's risky to connect to it. Hackers commonly use public Wi-Fi. They perform cyber attacks and steal sensitive data. If you're still suspicious that someone is tracking you, factory reset your phone. This is the most effective thing you can do. Sometimes, even though you delete the apps, a harmful file can be left. But hey, back up all your important data first before resetting the device. Don't tell me I didn't warn you if your dog's cute video got deleted for good. Now, we mentioned how to avoid tracking. Yet, in some situations, you want to track your own phone. Literally, you physically want to locate it. Although there are products put out by smartphone companies, there are numerous cheaper finder options on Amazon. This one here is easy to connect and has a ring for you to easily find your phone or other stuff like keys. Now let's say you mention this smart Bluetooth tracker to your friend in a conversation at a cafe. After some time, you will come across all types of key finder ads on your Instagram. Is it a coincidence, or is your phone listening to you? Long story short, it's true our phones do listen to us. Virtual assistants like Siri or Alexa listen to your voice all the time. It makes sense on paper. The assistant has to always listen to you so it can hear your command. Yet things aren't that simple. In 2019, a report found out that Siri sometimes mistakenly activates and records things. Some of these recordings are about private matters, too. It's said that Apple randomly selects small durations of conversations in order to make Siri analyze them. Then they see how to improve the service quality. It's not specific to Apple. Nearly all voice assistant systems work this way. But why do we see ads? Well, in simple terms, think of voice assistants as search engines. If you're looking for something and searching for it, you'll see ads related to it later. Now, if you feel unsafe and want to make your phone stop listening to you, there are a couple of things you can do. First, replace your smartphone with a pigeon to communicate. Now, the biggest problem with that, as I see it, is that you have to feed the pigeon and pay for the dry cleaning of your recipients. Okay, I'm kidding. Your phone listens to you through its microphone. You can disable Siri and its equivalents. After disabling voice assistants, go over to the apps you granted access to the mic. If an app asks you too many things to grant access, question it before blindly saying yes. Does a clothing app really need access to the microphone? I don't think so. Lastly, you can consider using a VPN to encrypt your manual browsing activity too. So, is it legal for phones to listen to you? The answer lies in the small box we tick about terms and conditions. We give them our consent and allow our data to be collected, trusting them not to use or sell it in illegal ways. Did you know that Apple CEO Tim Cook once said, "There's more information about you on an iPhone than in your home"? Prepare to be amazed or frightened about how much your phone knows about you. Companies collect data on your movements and location that's known, but they can also record your friends' locations too. Let's take Apple's Find My Friends as an example. I know it's super useful to find one another in a busy place, but when you use this feature, your phone quickly builds up data about where you have been, how much time you spent, and who you met there. Your phone can even understand your mood. Sometimes you do it willingly with a post or tweet, but background data tracked by the smartphone itself also has a pretty accurate ideas of how you feel. A study was made using a combination of phone sensors to figure out when someone was feeling depressed or manic. The study was conducted for 4 months. Researchers gave smartphones to 12 patients and told them to use them as their primary devices. The results were interesting. Researchers revealed that the device's activity and location data predict the patient's mood changes with 94% accuracy. Another crucial thing is your passwords. You don't have to memorize all the passwords because your phone or Google account remembers them for you. I know how convenient it is. If we think of the worst with saved account passwords, they will be available to anyone who gets into your phone. Your phone knows how often, when, and why you pick it up. Your sleep cycle, exercise routines, the list can stretch like mozzarella on a pizza. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go and check my phone to see how safe I am. Mission safety is going to be accomplished soon. They're watching you when you're in the bedroom and when you're in the bathroom. No, I'm not talking about your 3-year-old kids. One of the last things you think about when going on vacation is if the room you're staying in has hidden cameras planted all over the place. For starters, look in the most obvious spots in your hotel room to see if you can find any hidden cameras. According to some experts, if you can't find anything in plain sight, then using your smartphone is enough for a basic sweep. Every camera has a lens, and all lenses reflect light. So a quick way to check for hidden cameras is to close all the curtains in the room and turn off the lights. Use your phone's flashlight to point it at potential places or objects a hidden camera might be at. One of the apparent spots is the smoke detector on the ceiling. Grab a chair and point the light straight at it and try to see if there's any red or blue light reflected. You'll have to do it slowly since the light needs to strike the lens at the correct angle for you to see a reflection. After you're done, move on to other objects like the shower head in the bathroom or an alarm clock or phone charger. Keep in mind the positions of these objects. If the charger is placed where a surveillance camera could be, then investigate it and call the reception. Even a painting in the room can be a potential nest for a hidden camera. Other objects can be lamps, a hole in the wall, or somewhere inside the closet. Another creepy place is the bathroom mirror. This one is tricky to spot, so you'll have to be patient when inspecting it. You can also use your phone camera to spot surveillance cameras that spy on you at night. These secret cameras emit infrared lights that the human eye can't see so that they can work at night. You'll also have to turn off all the lights and put the camera in selfie mode. The rear-facing camera on most smartphones has an infrared filter, but the front one doesn't. You can try pointing a TV remote at the front-facing camera and press on any of the buttons to see it yourself. If you see a bright red light on your screen, that means it's working. All you have to do is move your camera in the dark to see if you can find a bright light around. It'll be good to do a second sweep to make sure you didn't miss anything. Another technique you can use is turning off the Wi-Fi when you enter the hotel room. Most of the cameras are hooked up to the Wi-Fi, so they won't be functioning anymore. If you get a call from the reception saying that the Wi-Fi is down in the room, that might be a red flag. There's no reason for them to know if the Wi-Fi was purposely turned off. It could mean that the cameras are on the local Wi-Fi. When you connect to your hotel room Wi-Fi for the first time, be careful about sharing your personal data. Most networks will ask for your login credentials, such as your email. Some people can recreate a Wi-Fi login page that's identical to that of the actual hotel, which can be deceiving. You might be connecting to a Wi-Fi router, but an email is all it takes for some people to know everything about you. One of the best things you can do is download an app that shows you what devices are currently connected to the Wi-Fi that you're using. It can show what smartphone, laptop, smart TV, and in the worst case, hidden cameras are connected. A radio frequency scanner can detect a wireless camera in the room, even if it's connected to its own Wi-Fi. It might be challenging, though, because of many wireless devices overcrowding the airways. You can pick up random signals even if you turn off all your devices and any wireless emitting signals. Intrusion into your personal life can go so far as someone tapping your mobile phone or landline to listen to your conversations. One way of eavesdropping on people's conversations is installing a microphone to a line that sends the audio wirelessly to a recorder from a remote transmitter. Almost anyone can get their hands on such equipment since it's not too expensive to buy and is available in many shops and online. If you notice strange sounds while talking on the phone, like clicking, distant voices, or that sound similar to an old record playing, then chances are someone is listening to your phone calls. These sounds aren't typical for a regular modern cell phone. Most bugging software runs in the background of your phone without you knowing, which drains the battery. There can be many explanations for why your phone battery keeps draining, but some software living on your phone, viruses, and malware will likely be the reason. You can also look out for unusual phone activity when you're not using your gadget. If your notifications keep popping up and you muted them, then maybe your phone is being bugged. In that case, they do not only have access to your phone calls, but your actual phone. They can fish out any picture, video, file, and information you have without you knowing it. If you try powering off your phone and it takes way longer than usual, it can be another sign of someone tracking your phone. For the phone to completely shut down, it needs to log out of all the tasks and activities properly. If your phone is transferring data to someone remotely, it might be the reason for the delay in shutting down. One of the biggest red flags is if you receive text messages that have random symbols and numbers. The ones who tap your phone use some illegal software, which sometimes requires them to receive secret codes. Make sure the text messages aren't something you subscribe to. Otherwise, contact someone who can help. If you scroll through your apps and notice something that shouldn't be there, or something that looks fishy, the app could be a disguise for a spying app. Also, check for weird history in your browsers for stuff you didn't search. You might notice your phone turning on and off randomly without you touching your phone. And worst of all, they can turn on your phone camera anytime they want without you knowing. If you feel like your phone is tampered with, then you have to factory reset everything. It wipes out all the data, including files, settings, and apps. The same risks apply to your laptop. Every now and then, we all click on something that seems legit, even though it acts as an access point for spyware to enter our computer software. Draining battery, overheating, and weird activity are telltale signs of your PC being infected. GPS trackers are the most common ways to track someone's vehicle. It's pretty simple to get the job done, but it's very difficult to find the trackers since they're usually planted deep inside the car. If you ever get the spooky feeling that someone could be watching you while you drive, or coincidentally see the same person everywhere you drive your car, then start searching for that tracker. The most common places are underneath the car or near the back wheels. But the person tracking your car is smart and knows what they're doing. They're not going to let you find it that easily. If you find nothing on the outside of your vehicle, then try looking on the inside. If you find something there, it's a clear sign the person tracking you broke into your car and planted the tracking device. Or it could be someone you know who took a ride with you once and slipped it in without you knowing. Check behind the dashboard and within your car's electronics to be sure. Instead of ripping your car apart to find the tracker, you can buy a GPS bug detector. They work by finding electronic frequencies in your car's proximity. They won't block it from tracking you down, but they'll help you find it. Before using it, turn off your smartphone or put it in airplane mode. This way, the frequencies won't intercept with the tracking device. And if you feel like this isn't working, try parking your car in a remote area where nothing is in sight. Even a remote garage would do. Well, anyone else feeling a little paranoid? Let's see some hands. Psst. Hey, do you ever get the feeling that you're being watched? Well, it's easy to set up hidden cameras all around, but it's not easy to find them. You can be out in public, and surveillance cameras will be pointed in every direction. Let's see who is watching you right now. You're walking down the street, ready to cross the road and meet your friend for a cup of joe. How many cameras are watching you? Let's start counting. For starters, street cameras are surveilling everyone around, especially near buildings. The symbol turns green and you cross the street. You pass by an ATM to collect some cash and meet your friend sitting inside by the counter. You may have missed the camera right on top of the traffic light to catch anyone crossing illegally. Next, the ATM machine has its camera, along with two more on top near the bank's entrance. Then, you have one outside the coffee shop and at least two inside, especially near the counter. How many cameras did you count? You're parking your car in the underground parking and going into the mall to buy a gift for your friend. How many cameras do you think are here? First of all, you have the cameras pointed at you from above. After driving, you park to get an entry ticket, and you have a camera at the bottom pointing at your license plate number just in case something happens. Dozens of cameras are placed on each floor. Finally, you park your car and get in the elevator to the store floor. No surprise here, the elevator camera. You walk through the mall and see more cameras above the stores. You enter the store and see at least 3 cameras. Let's not forget the couple taking selfies. Now, let's look in your pocket. Aha! You carry a camera with you all the time. We know instantly to snap a cool pic or record a video whenever we want. However, some people can gain forceful access to your phone remotely. By doing so, they can do almost whatever they want with your phone, including turning on your phone camera and going through your gallery. Now don't worry, such things only happen to very high-profile people who are considered targets. If they have your phone number, then all they have to do is miscall you and they're in. Besides accessing your camera and gallery, they can see your contacts, accounts, and passwords and read all your messages even if they're encrypted. Encryption is the form of scrambling text so that no one can know what your original message is. Most chatting apps have so-called end-to-end encryption, which allows a message to be flown from the sender and received in plain text to the end receiver. Along the way, the message can't be seen by the messaging app company or by your internet service provider. If one of these programs latches onto your phone, they can see your phone and messages just like you would be seeing them. It doesn't intercept your traffic, but rather it mirrors your phone. It shows what you're typing on your keyboard, which means it knows every password you type on your phone. This software can cost millions of dollars to execute and is only used by top officials. It's practically inaccessible to any regular people. You're in the front yard of your house. From your doorstep all the way to the tree near the trash can, there are tons of places to install a hidden camera. Here's a speed run, the front door, the chair on the porch, on top of your dog's house. Ah, who's a good boy? The treetop, the little rock by the entrance of your house, inside that garden gnome, and on the ceiling of your porch. You're driving along the countryside in a long stretch of greenery. There's no one around you. You decide to stop by a cliffside and enjoy the sunset before it gets too dark. There's no one in sight. You'd be happy to know that no cameras are watching you except for one. Can you guess where it is? Nope, it's not in your car. It's invisible. Well, no, actually, it's all the way up in the sky. Satellites. There are satellites capturing details of all corners of the Earth. They can't catch your car or any details, but they're watching, always watching. What's weird about this room? I know you paused it for a closer look, but the answer is nothing. Nothing is off about it or indicates that hidden cameras might be strategically placed. But let's zoom in for a bit. Closer. Yeah, that's just a wall. That little black hole that looks like dirt is actually a lens. These cameras are drilled into the walls and aren't placed at eye level. Zoom back out at this wall. There are plenty of elements around, like a bookcase, a wall clock, and a lamp. You might just see them as random everyday objects, but others will look at them as an opportunity to place some hidden cameras. On a bookshelf, you can easily find a perfect position to put the camera since it's one of the most cluttered places on the wall. There are some hollow books for sale, where one can just slip the camera inside and drill a hole for the lens. And boom, you will not even know or suspect anything. Some paintings can host a hidden camera, especially if the camera is bulky enough. You may suspect a hidden camera, especially if it's a cheap painting. People can easily camouflage the lens and position it strategically. Wall clocks are easy to place a hidden camera. In fact, any clock is good enough to nestle a device. It will require some work, but it can be done. The easiest thing is that here, people don't have to drill anything. And this goes for other types of clocks, like alarm clocks and digital clocks. Now, let's check out this living room. Looks cozy from a starting point, but at least 5 hidden cameras are deliberately placed in certain spots. Why would a tissue box be placed on a coffee table? I mean, it's convenient there, but look at how it's positioned. The downside is that people will interact with it and might ruin the camera. This flower pot in the corner is all by itself for a reason. Behind the thick leaves is a camera with an excellent wide angle to capture the whole room. Camera number 3 is next to your TV stand. Pay attention to the logo. It's disguised by the infrared red light that shows when your TV is on. Camera number 4 is drilled inside the coat hanger. During the summer, no one will have to hang anything there, so we can place a camera in the least obvious place in the room. The final camera is right in front of you, the front door. Most of the cameras look outward to see who's coming in. In this case, we have a camera pointing in both directions. These cameras capture real-time footage that can be seen on any smartphone or tablet. And the crazy part is that you can view them from almost anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in the same country to watch the camera footage of your house. Some of these cameras are so sophisticated that they don't record anything if nothing is moving. In other words, a motion detector. This technology isn't new, but the fact that it exists is quite shocking. If you ever catch yourself being filmed by a hidden camera, it might already be too late to do anything. For the most part, the cameras live stream the footage, which means you can't even do anything about it. It's not safe for you to recover. It's actively being viewed by who knows how many people.
11% of people on vacation at a hotel room have found hidden cameras in their accommodation. Imagine how much higher the number would be if more people knew what they were looking for and how to do it. So, how do you detect these hidden cameras? Let's say you've arrived at a random location for your vacation. You're renting out a lovely apartment. Take out your phone. It'll be an essential and beneficial source for finding clues of hidden cameras. Turn on your Bluetooth. Take a walk around the apartment, your room, bathroom, kitchen, and the passageway to the apartment. Monitor your phone to see if you can detect any unknown devices that appear on your screen. If something comes up, that's a good indication for a further thorough search. Even if you don't pick up anything on the Bluetooth, it's still a good idea to thoroughly search your accommodation anyway. Go to each room, take a close look around, and check the corners of the walls and ceiling, keeping an eye out for any suspicious holes. Holes are an unlikely place to find any cameras, unless you're in a haunted house from an old horror film, but it's still a good idea to check, regardless of how obvious it sounds. Now inspect all the movable objects, lamps, radios, television, shelves, and whatever else you can find sitting around. Check to see if they're facing at a strange angle, like if they were aimed towards your bed or bathroom. Once you've inspected everything with the lights on, turn them off. Some cameras may have small LED lights that can be in a range of colors. Go over the same area again, looking out for any suspicious lights. Make sure to check that the fire alarm is just a fire alarm. It's a common hiding place for cameras, as the fire alarm always has a blinking light. Approach the air vents and inspect closely. They would be capable of hiding larger cameras inside. Now that we've done a quick look in the dark, get a flashlight, or use your phone's flashlight, and shine that light around the room for an even more thorough search. Carefully look for any tiny glints of a camera screen. The reflection of the light will be minimal, so pay close attention to anything that glistens. Focus carefully on the inanimate objects in the room, reviewing every angle closely, even the susceptible plants. You can also utilize the selfie mode of your phone to detect infrared light sources in the dark, as it doesn't filter them out. These light signals can be found from night vision cameras, which rely on their infrared waves to detect heat signatures when it's dark. Put your phone on selfie mode, leave the light off, and look around the room slowly while focusing on the screen. It'll be awkward moving around the dark room while looking at the screen in selfie mode, but try to keep an eye out for purple or white lights on the screen. Now that we've checked for cameras, it's time to review the mirrors. Cameras could be behind them, and someone could also be watching from the other side. First, determine whether they're built into the wall or can be adjusted. If the mirror is semi-transparent, it will be built into the wall. These aren't common in your bedroom typically, which would lead to suspicion. You can do a simple test to check the mirror. Simply press your fingertip onto the glass, pushing firm enough to ensure that there will be a fingerprint as you move your finger away. Focus closely on the fingerprint. If there is a small gap between the fingerprint and the mirror where the glass should be, then it's just a mirror. On a semi-transparent mirror, there will be no gap. The fingernail test is used similarly, detecting if there is a glass gap between the end of the fingernail and the mirror. However, both tests may be complex depending on the lighting in the room and the position the mirror is facing, so it's not a definitive test in all situations. Semi-transparent mirrors are generally built into the wall to ensure they work without being detected. The wall must completely cover the edges. The lighting on the hidden side requires a brighter light source than your side of the wall for it to work. Put your eyes right up to the glass to further confirm what kind of mirror you're dealing with. Cup your hands around your eyes, ensuring there is as little amount of light from your side, and look through to the other side. If there is a slight indication of light behind the mirror, or if you can see outlines of objects behind it, you have a semi-transparent mirror. A semi-transparent mirror will have an empty wall behind it, so another method to check is to simply tap the glass. The sound of tapping on a semi-transparent mirror will produce an empty sound. If privacy is still a considerable concern after learning how easy it can be to hide cameras, further options are accessible. You have many options for applications available on your phone. Some will review the Wi-Fi network to determine any suspicious behavior in the area, as all cameras and surveillance equipment will connect to the Wi-Fi. These apps help you detect the concerning names of devices and identify the brand and model of the devices, providing further confirmation there is a hidden camera nearby. With the many application devices available, many anti-bug detectors can find hidden cameras, the body of wires, GPS, etc. There is a wide range of these detectors to choose from, depending on how much you want to spend. Security cameras have come a long way in recent history. In the world we live in now, you can find a camera in any shape and size. Anyone can purchase or modify a camera, and even place a camera where they like on their property. They are so advanced and inconspicuous that one could be watching you right now. The first surveillance cameras were installed in 1927. From then, surveillance in all forms has become more prominent throughout the world. The security camera's evolution has developed significantly. more so recently since the 1990s, when the development and variations have increased each year enormously. The application and the number of security cameras in public areas have grown so much that in 2021, there were estimated to be 1 billion security cameras worldwide. And considering most people have a phone or a computer device that more than likely has a camera attached, you can assume there will soon be more cameras than human beings on this planet. And if that's not concerning enough, there are also more secretive cameras out there that you're not even aware of, inconspicuously watching your every move, while on holiday, at work, at the gym, or even in your own home. Cameras today are so advanced that there are many out in the streets with facial recognition technology. Some are computer-controlled, identifying an object, tracking it on its system, and categorizing the objects in its field of view. The definition in these cameras is so powerful they can zoom in and focus on the smallest of objects. So, when accessing an ATM, be sure to always cover the keypad when entering your PIN code. Hidden cameras are used discreetly, recording people while they're unaware. They can be wireless and fit inside all kinds of small spaces, like fire alarms, televisions, and many more objects that could fit a camera as small as a USB slot, making them all the more difficult to detect. Some places to be wary of hidden cameras are when you're moving into a new rental accommodation and when you're on vacation. There have been reports of cameras found in hotels and many other forms of accommodation. It's possible to find places all around the world with hidden devices. In some countries and regions, it's legal for a proprietor to have hidden cameras and other devices on their premises. But just because they may be within their legal rights in some instances to monitor their property, you still have the rights of your privacy and safety. You also have the option to talk to your host or landlord and question them as to whether there are hidden cameras. If you feel confident in doing this, when you pose the question to them, look closely to see how they react, taking careful attention to see how they respond and in what manner. If they're shocked by the question or simply don't say a word, it may be an indication to leave the premises immediately. But if you don't want that awkward exchange, we hope that we've provided enough tips to help you where we can.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with